Welcome back to the Barley Lads. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified when we post new videos like this one. Today we're drinking Four Roses Single Barrel. Four Roses Single Barrel is a Kentucky Straight Bourbon from the Four Roses Distillery in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. 50% ABV or 100 proof. This is a non-age statement whiskey. Usually you can get this between $40 and $45. Mash bill, this is either their 75% corn, 20% rye, 5% malted barley mash bill, or 60% corn, 35% rye, 5% malted barley. So this is Four Roses Single Barrel. Because this is the first time that we are reviewing Four Roses, and there's a lot of dense history here, I am going to read right off from my notes so I can get through it quickly. So Four Roses has 2 different mash bills along with 5 different yeast strains to create 10 different unique bourbon recipes. Of those 4 recipes, this is obviously just one of them because it's a single barrel. By most accounts, the brand was founded by Rufus Mathewson Rose and was probably named in honor of him, his brother, and his 2 sons. Obviously, that makes 4, so that would be the Four Roses. The owner currently is the Kieran Brewery. Does not mention Rufus Rose in its version of history and refers instead to Paul Jones Jr. as the founder of the brand. The company says the brand name was trademarked in 1888 by Jones, who claimed it had been produced and sold as early as the 1860s. The brand's distillery is in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. If you've heard of Lawrenceburg, it's probably because of Four Roses or the other big brand out of Lawrenceburg, which is Wild Turkey. It was built in 1910 in the Spanish mission-style architecture. I have not been there, but I've seen pictures, and it is beautiful. It is also part of the National Register of Historic Places because of the way that it was built and how well it's upkept and the fact that it's just, historical in that, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, originally called the Old Prentice Distillery, it was owned by J.T.S. Brown. If you've heard of J.T.S. Brown, again, Heaven Hill brand of Bottled and Bond. I do have a bottle of that somewhere. But anyway, J.T.S. Brown was purchased by Seagram in 1943. Around the end of the 1950s, Seagram discontinued the sale of Four Roses bourbon within the U.S. in order to focus on sales of blended whiskey because they're trying to compete with the vodkas, the gins of the world. Think of Mad Men. Bourbon was just not as popular at that time, and so they were just trying to compete with something different. The market for the bourbon was then shifted to Europe and Asia, which were growing markets at the time. Four Roses name was used on blended American whiskeys in the U.S. during that time. Just blended whiskey in general is just trash because it's a blend of neutral grain spirits, which is basically vodka or moonshine, if you will. Reintroduced as a straight bourbon in the U.S. in 1995. The brand Four Roses, not this bottling per se. And the master distiller from 95 to 2015 was Jim Rutledge, who had started working for Seagram in 1966. So the master blender had worked for them for a very, very long time. Changed hands from Pernod Ricard to Diageo to Kieran Brewing from 1999 to 2002. So it was moved around quite a lot. Since 2015, Brent Elliott has been the master distiller, and he had worked under Rutledge for the preceding 10 years. So he's been with the company for 18 years as well. And they just completed in 2019 a $55 million expansion project, doubling the production. All right, so let's move on from that, and we'll actually get into the tasting. So this is Four Roses Single Barrel. Because it's a single barrel, this can run the gamut of all 10 specific mash bills. So I don't know if this actually says which one it is. It might. It says which warehouse, barrel number. Both of their mash bills are considered high rye, though. One is 20% rye, the other is 35% rye. So just from tastings previously, I think this is probably the 35% rye. Yeah, so it's very rye forward. but you do get cherry, and honestly, you get a lot of leathery oak notes. 100 proof. This is not bottled and bond though. I don't know. Well, I mean, it's a single barrel, so I guess it would still meet those criteria, but that's not how it's labeled. Maraschino cherry, or almost like cough syrup, like super syrupy cherries, almost to an off-putting level. Leathery, yeah, not my favorite. Bryce and I talked about this before, and certainly not the best single barrel that we've had. I would like to sample different ones just to find out kind of maybe which mash bill, which yeast strain better suits my palate. If you buy the base level Four Roses, which is like a $20 bottle, the yellow label, it actually has a blend of all 10 different mash bills in it. Yeah, hint of ethanol for being 100 proof. It definitely tastes like you're drinking a higher proof bourbon. It's good, not great. Still a decent value for a single barrel. Still, $40–45. But, maybe look for something that maybe suits your profile. I probably should have figured out what the V stands for 83/2V, but here we are. So thanks again for watching another episode of the Barley Lads. Today we've been drinking Four Roses single barrel. Cheers.